We're actually live now. So good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us at the first MERA webinar powered by GRIF. This morning's session is going to be mainly focused around what MERA is all about, because we've had so many questions asking us. About what MERA is, what its intentions are, and how it's going to be structured. So we're going to run through that quickly. We've also had a deluge of questions around legal issues as well as HR and people issues. So what we're going to do is next week we will be running a 1-hour webinar dedicated to legal issues and hopefully answering some of the questions that you've submitted already. And also please feel free to submit to jennifer@themira.org any questions you may have. And next week, at the same time, we'll be doing a dedicated session specifically on legal and HR issues. The week after, we're going to be doing a dedicated session on marketing and communications, which has also been a big question for people. So we'll be doing this every week. And this is the first one. And I would just like to say thank you also to everybody who said that they're in. We'll be in touch with you with both PAC kind of wrapping up what MERA is all about, as well as further information about how you can get involved, because really this is an industry initiative. It's not about us, it's not about egos, it's about supporting the industry through this difficult time. So I'm going to hand over now. Also, sorry, I should say that MERA has been in the works for about 3 years now. It was started at the 2017 GRIF Advisory Board meeting. It has been, so there's been a lot of work going on in the background, but we have accelerated the launch because of the challenging situation that we all find ourselves in. So we made the decision that to go to market and try and support the industry and bring everybody together before we were necessarily ready and had all our ducks in a row. So it is an evolving beast, I guess you could say, and we are counting on support from all of you to get it off the ground and make it a reality. So I will now hand over to Simon Richie, who's editor of Caterer Middle East, who will take you through today. But I will say quickly, if you can use the Q&A button down the bottom, that you can submit any questions. And when we get to the Q&A section, Simon will hopefully be able to direct those to some of our panelists. Those that we don't get through, we will try and capture and get back to feedback responses as well. And we'll be putting together a resource center with some documents that we think are helpful, as well as official government directives that have come out that we'll be making available to everybody who said they're in and who attended today. So thanks so much, guys, and I'll hand you over to Simon.
Thank you, Jennifer. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us at MERA, the Middle East Restaurant Association's first ever online session. This will be a chance to learn more about exactly what MERA is from a number of the founding board members, as well as to get some insight and advice from this panel of experts through the Q&A session, which is coming up. Now, the F&B industry in the Middle East has been crying out for a restaurant association for many years now, and it's thanks to the hard work of GRIF, the Global Restaurant Investment Forum, and people like Jennifer that we now have this body that you can call upon for support and guidance. I'm sure we'll all agree that it couldn't have come at a better time, with the industry in the middle of, well, an unprecedented global crisis. Never has there been so much confusion and misinformation about the restaurant trade, so I'm delighted to be joined here by some very knowledgeable people who can hopefully clear up some things for you and give you the help and assistance you need to navigate these trying times. As Jennifer said, you can use the Q&A to please put forward any questions that we'll pass on to the group later. But for now, I'll pass you on to founding board member David Singleton, who will talk a bit more about MERA and exactly what it is. David?
Good morning. Thank you, Simon. And good morning and welcome to everybody who is joining us from the UAE. And we know we've got people joining us from Europe, America, Australia, and around the world. You're all very, very welcome. I think firstly, on behalf of all of us, this is a very, very difficult and challenging time for the hospitality industry and industry. Everyone is feeling pain, and some more than others. And to those who have friends and family who are suffering, our thoughts are with you at this difficult time. And I guess that this is one reason why we've accelerated the formation and the launch of MERA at this time. Today, you'll get to meet all the founding board members of MERA, But their efforts are not down to those few people who will be talking today. There are many others who have been behind the scenes and around us in meetings, as Jennifer said, it feels like forever, but it is 3 years that we've been talking about this through our GRIF advisory board and in meetings and conferences, again, around the world where we've been meeting. We're a mix of mainly operators, we're developers, we're strategic thinkers. We've been in the hospitality industry in the UAE and around the world for many years. We understand the industry here in the region, and we're also able, through our experience, to get some global perspective as well, which I think is very important. What's even more important, we have an absolute passion for this industry, and we want it to have a voice. We want the industry to have a voice, and that's important. Now, as we've both said now, all three of us have said, now more than ever, it's important that the F&B community come together and support each other through these challenging times. And MERA will be a vital source of help and advice and information that concern business owners and managers alike, can come together, come to us for assistance and guidance. We're early, we've launched early, we don't have all the answers, we have a lot of intent, and my colleagues and friends will go through what
I'm there, and I've already sent
what we intend to cover. Someone needs to mute, please. The association aims to look after
yes
everyone in
the percentage and everything else based on, because you updated it maybe twice.
I can hear somebody talking.
It's Amit.
Amit, please. The association needs to look after everyone in the industry and not just owners and the management. So please get involved with us, sign up, and be a part of us. There's over 11,000 restaurants just here in Dubai, and as we come out of this, and I call this to my friends and the industry, the great recovery that we're going to go through in a few weeks' time. The new norm will be something that we don't know what looks like, and we will have to work together to understand what that is. Many of us will come out of this industry, and some sadly may not. And it's how do we put our big arms around those and support everyone in industry. So over this segment, Duncan is going to take us through our vision and our mission, what we've intended to set out to develop. Naim is going to talk about the what do we stand for? Lynne, how? Ramzy is going to cover innovation, big data and incubation. Ravi, important, is going to take us through the MERA ecosystem. What are we standing for? You will have time to ask questions. Simon and Jennifer have kindly collated all the many questions that we've had in over the last few days. And we'll do our very best to answer as much as we can today, but certainly in subsequent sessions. And I think this session here will kind of shape and how future sessions do look like. Jennifer will wrap up at the end of the session, as she always does for us, in keeping us organized. So thank you. That's all from me. Duncan, the baton goes to you.
Thanks, David. Good morning, everyone. And once again, to reiterate everyone's previous statements, we are all in this together. We are one family in hospitality and food and beverage. And we want to make sure that we can do what we can for the people that obviously are the key sources of our business, both our human assets and our physical assets alone. So to get into a little bit more about the vision and the mission, as David rightly said, this has been going on now for 3 years, all voluntary work by the board members. They've committed their time and their resources in order to get us to this point now. And I can tell you, in structuring the vision around MERA, there was a lot of many hours of workshops in order to ensure that it was all encompassing, not just for corporate business, but for the individual within each organization as well. So to kind of go through the point, the vision of MERA will be a thought leader, a professional body and collaborative platform, providing members with information, support and opportunities for continuous business and personal growth. And I think that really kind of sums up what the intention of creating MERA was all about, is to ensure that we are all encompassing with what we do, and that we wrap everyone, to David's point, around in the group of the people that are so vital for what we are creating. The mission of MERA is more to be a hub that connects, promotes, and supports its members, to be a platform for collaboration, innovation, and education, and to advocate sustainability, responsibility, and food safety. So the intention is to look at this as a hub, with like a circular hub with all of these different elements that feed out from it, to support the industry and support our very, very special F&B community. And I think at a time like now, this is really where, you know, this is going to come into play. We'll be sharing the vision and the mission, obviously, with those of you that have registered to say that you're in. But really important, again, at this stage, to know that, you know, this has been a long time in the making. And yes, to reiterate what the others have said, we are launching early, but the intention of launching early is to give people as much support and opportunity as we possibly can. With that in mind, I'd like to hand over to Lynne now, who's going to talk about why we're doing this.
Great, thanks for that, Duncan. Very excited to be part of the group, I have to say. Looking at the food and beverage industry as a whole, it really is an integral part of the tourism industry in Dubai, and also represents one of the main pillars for the Dubai Tourism Centre, the DTCM. So really, instead of the DTCM listening to a sea of voices really from the industry, we'll be a professional organisation with one voice that can go to them with some of our ideas, and get some of our common goals and get some actions and results, not only from them, but other government industries and ministries, etc. As Simon mentioned, there is a demand. The market is simply ready. They have an appetite for support through an association body. So we'll emulate other cities like Singapore, who've already gone to market with something like this for quite some time now. So we can look at places like that. We can emulate a little bit what they do very successfully in that part of the world. One of the reasons we're doing this is to ensure that the industry has a responsibility. We know that the industry has a responsibility to drive behaviour and create demand for sustainable practices. So as we're aware, there are several areas, especially in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, everywhere really, that really don't do market research. There's no due diligence. It's not practiced in those areas. Very little government interjection, the standards, the hygiene, even questionable with the RTA, etc. As Naim calls it, the cowboy land. So the issues that are caused there, we want to ensure that the body really is evolving in the right direction, so that there's not too many of the same restaurants in one area, that the right standards are implemented and put into place, and that we naturally glide into a sustainable future for the industry. We're also embracing technology. So looking at the restaurant industry, we need to embrace for change when it comes to technology. We know that we cannot be taken over by technology. That's not part of who we are. The industry, as we know it, cannot be taken over. At the heart of it is people, the skills of the people, the personal touch, etc. However, the industry here can be supplemented, it can be complemented with great technology. So we'd like to share best practices in this ever-evolving technical world. So I'm going to move over to Naim now to look at basically what we're actually doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynne. Morning all. I, for one, I'm extremely excited to be online today with everyone. This is like a 7-month-old baby, premature. So please bear with us, but the baby is born, and our duties and responsibilities now is to make sure we nurture this baby, develop it and grow it into a sustainable individual organization as such. Further to what my colleague Lynne has mentioned and my other colleagues have been talking about earlier this morning, what MERA does, it's really a commitment to ensure that the industry is recognized as one of excellence, professionalism, profitability and sustainability. Keeping in mind its broader social and economic contribution to the society we live in. It should also promote and advocate the value of the restaurant experience to the public. So it's not merely a B2B, but it should be a B2C as well. MERA should also proactively campaign and lobby on all levels to ensure that views of our members, all of the voices are heard in a professional manner to the public in a public domain. Who can partake in this organization, this hub, this platform? Independent restaurateurs, hotel restaurants, licensed, non-licensed, cafe operators, caterers, suppliers to the industry, and last but not least, industry workforce as in its entirety. United, it will pull us and will make us stronger with a clear aim and vision moving forward. I guess a lot of you are asking, what's in it for me? Why should I become part of this? Why should I get myself involved? And some of the benefits that we foresee rolling out very quickly: professional support from the industry, collated industry news. If you take what's happening around us today in the world, we're all scouting for information all over the place. So this will be a hub where everything will be collated on one platform and shared in a professional manner. Preferred rates and prices from third-party suppliers, a platform for education and training, and even maybe down the road, some sort of accreditation and award programs. A lot of network opportunities to mix and mingle whenever we're allowed back in social gatherings. Workplace relations advice, marketing platform, and last but not least, it's an industry endorsement mechanism. Thank you for being with us this morning, and I'm handing you over to my colleague Ramzy, who will tell us about his part of the equation today. Thank you. Ramzy?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Naim. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here and to have been involved in this from the very beginning. We all have worked extremely hard. As you can see, we're all being very good and adhering to the stay home, hence the rather unique backgrounds from everybody on the call. So hopefully you are doing the same, and together we'll fight this and get through this quicker and get this industry and the whole economy back moving, do our part so we can all move forward efficiently. Thank you again for everyone for joining, and we hope you will be an integral part of this, because without you, we can't do it. So as excited and passionate as we all are as a board, we need everybody's support. And so it brings me on to the three aspects I'd like to discuss with you for a few minutes, which is we're looking at innovation, big data, and incubation, and we need all of you with us. It's ironic that innovation is the first one I'd like to discuss briefly, because in the world that we now find ourselves in, we believe now that more than ever, the likelihood of not just technology, but human customer relationship behavior will undoubtedly change significantly over the next few years as we move forward from this coronavirus. So we're looking at Dubai, the UAE as the association, and frankly, we've been having meetings with many associations around the world, seeing what they do, and Dubai being what it is, and us all loving home here and the UAE, we are looking not just to emulate what other associations have done, but we want to innovate. So we will be, as Naim just mentioned, representing not just the large corporates or the owners of restaurants, but we want to also represent the individuals that work in the industry. And in the UAE, there are some plus, just in Dubai alone, actually, some 200,000 people that work in this industry. It is a significant contributor to GDP. So we'll always look for ideas and suggestions. We're an open body, and we want to innovate as we move forward, becoming a real hub of IoT and AI as we go forward. To do all of this, as many people that you can get from your friends and colleagues and individuals in the industry to participate will allow us to pick up and collect all this big data, which in doing that data, in collecting it, it allows us to be able to understand what is happening, what the different behavior is from the operators as well as from the people as the customers. And with that, information is power. It will allow us to actually be able to put out some very interesting information to the market to look at how things move forward. Within all of that, a super important point that we're all extremely proud of is to incubate. So over the last 10 years or so, we've seen a significant amount of new concepts that are homegrown, created, developed, and run successfully in Dubai, and in the UAE, in fact, with some great ones in Abu Dhabi too. What we would love is to do more of that. We want to support that industry. And obviously a very important talent in that is not just nurturing you know, chefs from all over the world that want to call Dubai and the UAE home, but we want to be able to see if we can assist in any chef that wants to come through, and we'd love to be able to nurture and incubate local talent, being residents as well as Emirati talent, because this really is one of the top 10 cities in the world. And for us, this is home. Thank you all for joining us, and I will now pass on to my next colleague to take things forward. Look forward to seeing you again every week, and to answer any of your questions in any way that we're able to help. Thank you for joining.
So that's me. Good morning, everyone. What an exciting day. Finally, Mira has blossomed after 3 years of hard work. It has been a hard journey, not easy at all. We never gave up. Thank you very much to all the team members. Fantastic work done. I'm so happy and glad today. So I'm going to talk about the Mira ecosystem. You know, the key pillars, the 6 key pillars are represent, educate, promote, support and incubate, connect, collect data, and afford insight. So the Mira ecosystem has 6 pillars, the objectives of Mira, that's what I should call it, the very purpose of the association. Mira intends to empower all F&B owners and operators to achieve more than they thought possible. It intends to be the go-to resource for relevant information and intelligence that helps our members run their business better. So I'll briefly take you through all the 6 pillars, and this is what we intend to do. First one being represent. Mira intends to represent and be the voice for the restaurant industry in Dubai, especially in times like this, on how we could find answers to the tough questions and help the members. Mira believes that when we come together as an industry, our collective voice is stronger and our impact is greater than when any of us stands alone. Educate is the second pillar, is educate. Mira intends to hold events, webinars like we do now, bring in keynote speakers locally and globally, share best practices, conduct online training sessions, bring in the emerging trends to the region, and SMEs who are new to the industry can seek the help in building and growing their business through mentorship among members. The third pillar will be promote. Mira intends to promote industry-related events. Suppliers and service providers to the industry can promote their products and services on the Mira platform. Mira intends to promote your brand through our various channels. And the third one is support and incubate. As a busy operator, whether you are an SME or a large company, you're always thinking about how to make your business better. Whether you're trying to increase footfall, learn about the latest F&B trends, or recruit qualified talent, Mira intends to help you there as well. And if you can't find the information you're looking for, you can always contact Mira. And very important is the fifth pillar, where there's a lot of networking always happening. It's called Connect. Members can connect with restaurant professionals through Mira's online communities that have been set up, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or YouTube. There'll be periodic events where members can connect. The last pillar is collect data and afford insight, something that is lagging very much in this part of the world. How often we struggle to find data or information when you want to lease a new location. We have no idea about the catchment area details. We have no idea about what the average rent in a particular area is. I myself struggle to find a good fit-out contractor or a marketing agency, whether it's a food stylist or a photographer or a mobile app developer. You just run around trying to call friends and trying to get some details about. Mira intends to have a database of all suppliers, agencies, contractors, service providers for you to operate, making your life easy and concentrate on your business. So whether you're an operator or an owner, there's always new issues, challenges, and policies that affect your business and in our industry as well. Mira intends to serve you or find solutions so you can focus on running your business. That's it from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ravi, and to the rest of the board members. I hope that has given you all a solid outline of just what Mira is and what it hopes to be in the future. Now it's time for the Q&A part of the session. We have had a number of questions sent in prior to this session, and we encourage anyone with something to ask to please send in your questions below. I see we already have a number locked in, so that's fantastic. And we'll try and cover as much as we can today. Now this is a very general Q&A, but Mira is set to have a number of more specific sessions around different topics in the coming weeks. So if your issue isn't covered today, don't fret, it will likely fit into something else that will be coming up soon. Now from the board members there, we have heard a lot about the long-term plans for Mira, but with the current situation as it is, I would like to ask Duncan, how do you see Mira's role in the coming days and weeks particularly?
Thanks, Simon. Great question. As has been stated previously, obviously, with Mira it's not a short-term project. It's been going on for a very long time, but obviously, given the current circumstances and where we are, the initiative was to obviously get out into the market now. So we've obviously set up, and I think Ravi kind of covered off in the ecosystem what the intention of Mira is going forward. However, given where we are and where we're at and the current climate that we're in, the very first thing we want to do from the people on this webinar today is we want to hear from you. What do you need right now? What can we as Mira, as the founding board members of Mira, what do the people out there, what do your businesses need right now so we can support you in the immediate initiatives that are required? It is a long-term project, obviously. There's a lot of shape around the platform as to what we are intending to do. But right now, we are going to be sending out a survey following this Q&A, following this webinar, I'm sorry, to the members that are partaking in this right now to hear back from you. We want to hear from the people that have voted to say that you're in and want to be part of this so that we can look to hosting more webinars with more specialized individuals that can tackle the direct and immediate needs that you're looking for at this particular point in time. And obviously, we want to go on the journey of Mira with you. It is all of us together, in it together, in the industry, for the industry. And so we look forward to hearing from you. And we'll be creating that vehicle to listen to what it is that you're looking for so we can shape what our deliverables are in the coming weeks, months ahead. Thanks, Sam.
Thank you, Duncan. Now there's something that Ramzy touched on, and I'm seeing that Paul Greenwood has asked, and so it'll be quite interesting to see how will Mira liaise with other organisations around the world to ensure a cohesive approach on certain situations. Is there any planning in place for that, and have you been in touch with other organisations?
Thank you for that question. We have constantly over the last couple of years been in touch with associations from the US, the UK, Ireland, a couple of others in the Middle East, Singapore, Australia. That's part of how we've been looking at what's happening all over the world and how we're going to take things forward. There are some current ongoing discussions with some of the others. We're watching and seeing what they're all doing. We're having a chat with them and seeing what they're doing. And I don't want to say necessarily just learning from them. They've been at it a lot longer than us. We all have ideas for what we'd like to see happen. But we are taking things on board, discussing it at the board level here with the founders and seeing moving forward if there's anything from there and from our ideas here of what we'll be able to do to assist the industry itself here. But as at this point in time, there's nothing that we're able to announce yet. But we will hopefully on a weekly basis be able to add more information to that and actually give some guidance and some useful information to people.
And I think, like, as Ramzy said, we have already been in touch with the NRA and with UK Hospitality, who's done an amazing job for the industry in the UK, as well as the Restaurant Association of Ireland. So it is something that we are actively reaching out to other associations around the world to try and learn from and also to work with.
I think also to add to that is as HAMA as well, which is a global organization and an entity. We have just in the Middle East almost 600 hotel owners, or let me rephrase that, owners of 600 hotels who are part of HAMA. So by itself, just in Dubai, you are looking at anything between 400 to 500 outlets. So there is a lot of learning that comes out of it, which as a group we share, and we see what are the best practices that can evolve out of it.
Thank you, Amit. I'm seeing a question from Rebecca Vianney, and this again, maybe it's quite soon to have plans exactly in place, but do you hope to have, this is again just for the whole MERA board in general, do you plan to have any certification and training programs offered for industry employees who want to further their skills?
I think that's an aspiration for down the road, Simon and Rebecca. Thank you for raising it. We have talked a lot about this, and it is something that we would love and like to do. But I think there's going to be some much more pressing issues for us to get through, and I think looking at our questions that are being posted, it's up there with it. So I think the answer is yes. That's what we'd love to do, and Rebecca, we'd love to have you on board to help us with it as well, because I know that's a passion of yours.
Looking at here, one of the questions from Mohammed Ali Said from Mangora, and obviously it's something that's really relevant right now with certainly with the information we're receiving from government on a day-to-day basis. How does MERA plan to interact and work with the government in terms of how legislation is impacting and affecting restaurant businesses at the moment?
Can I take that? Naim, go first.
It's a very good question. I think, look, like any other organisation, we will never operate on our own. We fall under the same umbrella. We're part of the mix of the local grounds. So for us, it's to make sure that we unite, we collate information, we distribute information that is endorsed by authorities, government bodies, and respected partners. We will never do this on our own. This is the vehicle here is to make sure we collate industry information, we voice the opinion, we make recommendations, advisory decisions or advisory recommendations moving forward to make sure that we represent the industry united.
Just to add to that as well, one of the key focus areas for MERA is as well to look at what does the industry need as support from the government authorities and from the regulatory authorities as well. And this is what is the idea of collating all this information together and presenting it to the likes of DTCM and other tourism organizations across board, and to see how they can assist. And on the HAMA side of things, we are seeing this, we work very actively with the DTCM, and we have been able to do a lot of changes in certain aspects of the regulatory systems in order to assist the owners and the colleagues within our team during these trying times.
Thank you, Amit.
Amit, can you explain what is HAMA to everybody?
Okay, HAMA is the Association of Hotel Owners across the world. It's represented by different continents. So we have one in US, which represents North and South America. You have one based out of Singapore, which represents Southeast Asia. You got one in China. The MEA covers Middle East and Africa, and also supports the Indian subcontinent. As an organization, it's a membership-based organization similar to what MERA aspires to be. We have owners which are institutional owners or individual owners of hotels across board. So just as an example, the HAMA Middle East includes institutions like Abu Dhabi Investment Authority, Dubai Holding, Whissle, Miras, from Saudi, the Red Sea Development, Naim, all these institutions which are developing hospitality projects across these continents. The
so
voice
just
of
wanted to say hotel and what is it? What is
Hotel Asset Managers Association.
Yeah, that's what I wanted everyone to know, so the viewers know about it. Yeah.
So that's what HAMA does, and it's been a body incorporated out of the IFC, similar to what we are working for MERA as well. It's been in place since the last 6 years and actively working with the various entities. As a representative of HAMA, I also represent the Owners Committee within DTCM, as well as certain other government bodies within UAE.
Thank you, Amit. Now looking at the questions again that we've received, obviously many of them relate to the current crisis that we're going through, which is one of the biggest things to impact the F&B industry probably ever, or definitely ever. I noticed Chef Greg Maloof, he said he has some concerns relating to the foot soldiers of hospitality, cooks, chefs, waiters, kitchens assistants, who are obviously, certainly a lot of them are unpaid leave or have been laid off in the recent weeks. What can we do to help, and what do you think about the government plans to help these unemployed? Naim?
I think, again, the onus is on us to make sure we do a lot of initiatives to keep our peoples, the industry and workforce engaged. And again, under Gates Hospitality, we started this hospitality school online as an example. And I'm sure there's a lot of other organizations doing their own training, their own engagement online to make sure that our people are engaged, exposed to the business, constantly in touch with the business, and last but not least, aware of what's happening. I think there will be a lot of government directives coming through, and in fairness to the authorities as we stand at the moment, I think they're choosing their priorities correctly, and I think we will get our fair share of attention fairly shortly. What we need to do in the interim is to make sure that we unite, and we have a wish list, which a lot of us are working on and have put forward to make sure that list is united, representing the industry. So whenever we ask the question, we have our answers or our wish list prepared and put forward.
Jennifer, would you like to add to that?
I think this is one of the big themes that have come through in people's responses and questions, is what we can do to help people who have perhaps, well, I mean, a lot of people have been negatively impacted by what's going on. I think the whole industry has, but there's some people who are more vulnerable than others and who have been hit harder. So there's been a lot of people express the desire to see what we can do to help those people, and that is something that we're looking at and that we're exploring. Obviously, in this part of the world, it's a little bit more challenging than some of the initiatives that are going on elsewhere, but it is something that we're looking at. So please email me if that's if you're interested in being involved.
It's the current situation is obviously having a devastating effect on F&B entirely. I wanted to come to Ravi and ask him how one of the questions that was sent in prior to the session. How are operators managing to keep morale high amidst this crisis?
It's very important because you need to read.
Have we lost Ravi?
I think we've lost Ravi, unfortunately. Anyone else would like to come in on how they're keeping morale high at the moment?
Again, I think it's we need to make sure communication channels are very clear, very open. The engagement level is very strong, because again, these people are looking up on us saying, what is going on? Where is it going? What's next? All we can do is keep very, very transparent lines of communication with the guys, make sure we have online courses for them, make sure we have engagement channels that stay home, stay safe, and provide basics, whatever that may mean to a lot of us out there.
Wondering,
can I just get in on that as well, just quickly? I think the key thing right now, especially in those businesses that are shrinking as a result of lack of dine-in, is keeping the teams engaged. We're looking at cross-training. We're looking at equitable rotations on the shifts that are available, so everyone is still getting engaged with the business on a day-to-day basis. And it really is about coming up with initiatives where, for instance, a front of house employee is learning how to do basic, apprenticeship work in a kitchen. So it is, peeling potatoes and all of that. People, the great thing about our staff and the people that work in this industry is they want to work. We know they want to work, and it's up to us. And so every opportunity we have to keep them engaged and motivated and in the business. Stewards that want to move up through the ranks, it's an opportunity for them to learn from chef de parties on how to work within the kitchen and move through. There are opportunities there for us to create motivation and engagement, and I think it's the challenge is for all of us to tap into those and ensure that we're doing everything we possibly can, you know, thinking more outside of their traditional roles within the organization and more into the areas that we can actually develop them going forward. Back to you, Simon.
I just had one last one to finish off. My Wi-Fi had gone off, I think. And that was about e-learning. I think this is the best time for connecting with staff and do an e-learning program, whether it is in-house or it's external. A lot of external training companies, digital training companies are coming forward to help with better pricing, or even some of them trying to do it free as well. So I think the best time is to train now, and that to the e-learning platform. Yeah.
Thanks, Ravi. Good to have you back. Yes, now we had a few questions sent in today about rent. I guess I'd like to put out there to all of you restaurateurs, have you been renegotiating your rents already, with considering restaurants are shut down? Will MERA be a platform to come together for people to have support in negotiating things like this? What's the plan? What have you been doing personally, and what's the plan going ahead? Naim?
Yeah, the love landlord relationship continues. I think, look, like I said publicly on various domains the last 2 weeks, for the industry to survive, this is not about operators, this is not about investors, this is about everybody. Every single stakeholder needs to shoulder the responsibility. And that includes landlords, that includes investors, that includes authorities, that includes the dealers of these worlds, that includes the VAT, the tax. We all need to chip in, shoulder some responsibility for a survival, nothing else. This is not about opportunity to actually get ahead of the game. Our venues are closed. I can put my investor hat on, my operator hat on, our venues are closed, so there's no cash flow, there's no generation of revenues. So we can't be expected to pay rents, we can't be expected to pay VAT, we can't be expected to pay visa renewals and the likes. And this is not about deferrals. This is not about making sure that we paid 3 months down the road. There is no income, so there can't be an outgoing. And this is the industry, and this is what we need to be getting together, voicing one united opinion, saying that we need a break, we need a relief, we need interventions at all levels in order to save us and help us move forward, to make sure that there is a sustainable industry moving forward.
And if I can just add something to that, Simon. I think well said, Naim. There are some landlords that, to answer the big question about rent, we don't know where it will end up, frankly, with whether any governmental instruction will come out in this regard yet. We know the government is obviously battling the virus itself first, but there are a number of meetings happening to see how to energize the economy, including this issue with the whole industry for us. So to that end, there are some landlords that have stepped up amazingly, the likes of Maadad in Festival City, and a couple of others who have said they will waive rent with a fund to support retailers and F&B. There are others, as Naim correctly said, that have said they want to defer the rent. And I think, again, all of us on this board feel the same way that Naim just iterated very clearly, that the reality that doesn't work. There's no point in asking any of us as owners or operators or investors to look at paying this rent, 3, 6, 9 months down the road, because as again Naim said, there's no income being earned right now. So we need to get to a point where we are able to safely reopen all the venues, as many of the venues as is possible in Dubai, get support from everybody on this call or customers to come out, support the restaurants, whether it's through the takeaway or in-house, re-stimulate the circle so that the F&B industry can get back to actually creating the virtuous circle of the economic funds that then circulate. Without that, there is no industry. So this is still very much an ongoing discussion, and we hope to have something positive. But as of now, it's been individual actions that have been quite very welcome from some people, but it's not across the board yet.
So I wanted to talk about deferment of PDC checks that anyone has given as tenants. I think you should write a letter if you have anything coming in the next few months to defer the payments, and many of them have been very positive in responding positively to defer your checks and to be encashed later in the year. That's something I wanted to bring up. Thanks.
Thank you, Ravi. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously something that impacts on literally everyone, so hopefully we can, hopefully through MERA we can get something in place soon to help everyone out and to get everyone's opinion together. One of the things that certainly I've been hearing the most about recently with dine-in shut is everyone's pivoting to delivery as quick as they can. However, most people are, to say the least, very unhappy with commission rates coming from delivery platforms. Is this something that MERA plans to come together to try and address? And what do you think we can do about it?
May I pick this up, Simon? I've been doing some work with these aggregators over quite a long time, and delivery and home delivery will become the new norm, and the whole model of this, I think, has to change. There are a few aggregators out there actually making money. It's extraordinary the money that is being pumped into these massive organizations, yet they're still not making money. We're seeing in China how habits and behaviors have changed in this period. And as the market is coming back, not even half of the fast food restaurants are reopening because people have got so used to ordering online and having food delivery to their home. Now, it's a big conversation and we don't have the answers here. And I think amongst the team here, what we'd like to do is to actually get some of the representatives on a separate panel to ask these direct questions out there. And I think that would be a very useful session. Naim.
Look, I think again the social confidence is something that I'd like to bring up and talk about because it's something that we need to start working on now. Habits will become habits only if we support them and fuel them. We need to make sure that in the mindset of the consumers, the industry bounces back fairly rapidly. As you rightly said, David, I think once the new world order emerges in Supremes, deliveries and takeaways will become a very integral part of that chapter. But that doesn't mean that hospitality as we know it, restaurants as we know them, food and beverage offering as we know it, will not come to an end. But it's up to us as a united voice to make sure that we give them reasons, we give them value, we give them experiences that they long for and they come out and enjoy. It's 3, 4, 5 different set of approaches, but we can do this. Not forgetting that we're not 1% the size of China. So our offering and our receiving doesn't tally up at times. The supply-demand formula.
That's very true, Naim, and I think around the world this challenge needs to be addressed. It's particularly prevalent here in the Middle East. There are some big players who are hard at it, and I think this is a perfect forum to actually bring them together. And I think in one of the very early GRIF sessions, I recall being on a panel with those guys, and just the stress, the anxiety and the pressures have just moved now with these guys. They're not going away. We've got to find a way to make it work for everybody. And you can see some brick and mortar businesses now are heavily moving into home delivery. How do we make it work and integrate it into our business? And that's going to be part of the big comeback, I think. So it's a great question. We just don't have all the answers. We'll try and bring them to the table.
One of the questions was sent in prior to the session was that given this prolonged use of delivery now, will it affect brick and mortar stores even when they reopen? Do we expect it to go back to normal, or also with the effect on reduced disposable incomes for much of the city? Will dine-in restaurants recover after this is over?
There is no question, Simon, that home delivery will form a bigger part of our life. There is no question that cooking at home will become a bigger part of our life. I can't remember the last time I baked bread. I baked bread yesterday. I can't remember the last time I did that. I'm doing more cooking. I'm doing more research at home. And I'm exercising at home. I'm not going to the gym. I'm not going to the park. Our online virtual world is becoming integrated into our lives. And us as operators and leaders in the industry will have to find new and inspiring ways to inspire people to come back out of their home and get back to what they used to do. It is going to be hard work to do that, I think. You know, they say it takes 7 days to change a habit. You know, we've been locked down for 7 days now, and there's going to be another 7 and another 7 and another 7. And we're going to have to really think creatively about how we reignite our spaces, how we make home delivery part of our business. And it's going to be a big challenge. And it's one of these macro challenges that the industry is facing now. And how do we address that? And the one thing that does bring me hope in the UAE specifically is that this is a hub of genius ideas. There's so much comes out of this industry and this place that we're sat in now. And I do feel confident that we'll come up with some great ways to come out of this.
Just one thing there, David, thanks for that. I think you're right. I think definitely a lot of it is changing, and people are going more into the home delivery, but we're seeing China at the moment. So we're talking to our colleagues the other day from Marriott in the Asia Pacific area, and seeing that now it's starting to reignite with the transportation systems coming back online. Restaurants are starting to get busier over there. I think people are a little bit fed up of being cooped up inside. So there is the other side. And I know, Simon, you mentioned about the economy and people's disposable income and things like that. But there is still going to be some disposable income out there that people, there's a need that people want to socialize. They want to interact with other people. So, you know, that is going to bring people back into our restaurants as well.
You're right, Lynn. And, you know, we also see how people behave in industry now. And it's how we as operators make our customers feel. People are very sensitive at this moment in time. And if we take care of our team, take care of our guests and the community, those people will pay back. And, you know, we see around the world, particularly in England, where we got breweries making hand sanitizers, breweries telling their employees to go and work for supermarkets. How do we feel about those people when we do have this great comeback? You know, I know where I'm going to go and eat and drink when I, you know, have my first party and go out there and go out and reward those who rewarded the industry. Yeah. And it's an extraordinary time for everybody. And it's our feelings towards others that I think in our industry will become very, very important. No.
Thank you, Naim and Duncan both want to come in here.
Can I just want to refer to something I mentioned earlier about the engagement factor, and it's one of my brand pillars, at least the innovation brand pillars. And this Friday, we are doing a live quiz on Zoom out of Freeform. And why am I stating all of this? This is not a sales pitch, it's sold out, by the way, but it's more about making sure that the innovation factor comes out from the team, making sure that we engage out. The idea came out from one of our team members saying, why don't we do this online? And it sold out within 3 hours. So principally groups of 4 jumping on Zoom, and there is a quiz hosted by a radio personality. So the onus is on us as an industry to make sure that we drive that innovation, we drive that excitement, we give value and experiences that people will say, I want those. I don't want my food to be on the back of a bike every day.
Agreed.
Yep, no, that's very good. Can I just jump in as well? I think to Lynn's point, people are definitely going to come out again. It's inevitable that they will. I think we need to now, as owners, operators, restaurateurs, look at the setup of our restaurants. How have we set them up previously? I think there's going to be a restructure in the way the physical embodiment of our front of house looks going forward for the foreseeable future. I think that honestly, I think the inbuilt nature of social distancing that is becoming the norm now is not going to it's not going to be an immediate transformation into cramming 100 people into a small, 100 square meter space. Those days we really need to reconsider of how do we maximize our opportunities going forward. But the physical structure of the restaurant is going to be different. To Naim's point on with regards to what Gates is doing, we're about to launch this week. We've got 7 of our restaurants putting their menus through one of our kitchens to support delivery through one platform. So you've got 7 of the restaurants that we have operating doing delivery, which none of them have ever done before, but we're executing it all out of one kitchen. So it's a one-stop shop for 7 different restaurants to make the purchasing decisions easier for the clients at home and the customers at home. There are many ways that we can work with the models that we have been dealt, or the hands that we have been dealt in this particular scenario, to keep the engagement of our consumers, keep the engagement of the customers there and available, and obviously to give them better pricing options and better choices to get us through this point, so that when we do come out the other side, which is inevitable, we will, they are still thinking about what it is that we have created and the brands that we have put out there, and the ones that obviously we've all put our heart and souls into nurturing to this point.
I think just to add to this, I think this whole situation is going to give us an opportunity to do a hard reset on 2 fronts. One, as owners and operators, how we deliver, drive, and manage our business, and from a socio-economic platform, how our consumers behave and respond to this. This is going to be, once we come out of this, the market and the dynamics, the way we look at it, is going to change moving forward. And I think, like as Duncan mentioned, is that now he's running 7 menus out of one kitchen. The question will come up is that why was this not done before? Could we continue with this? And so on and so forth. And I think these are the questions that the owners, operators, all of us are going to ask our team, is that things that happened during this 2-3 months of closure and the way we innovated ourselves over and above what we normally do. We came out of our comfort zones, what normally we would restrict ourselves to. I think these are the questions that are going to come up after these 3 months when we start again into the business.
Thank you, Amit. To move on from delivery, I wanted to come to Lynne. For Lynne of the panel here, you have a kind of unique perspective in terms of hotel F&B. And if you could kind of maybe run us through what the biggest issues coming out of the crisis right now are for you, and kind of what your plans are to get through this.
Well, the biggest issue really is closed hotels. So that's the major thing at the moment, and what we're doing with our people in the meantime, because obviously people can't fly home, but there's no work for them in the hotels. So we're trying to negotiate with the owners to at least keep them on furlough, so we can actually make sure that we house them, clothe them, all those kind of things, and give them the basic needs. Like's been mentioned, is the online training and things like that we're trying to keep people busy with. We're also talking about the delivery side of things, and in fact we're having conversations, we were having calls with the hotels this morning about that and getting that set up so we can give some work to some more people as well, in keeping them busy inside the kitchen. Not always about getting the business in, but also about giving people jobs at the time when they need them the most. At the moment as well. So I think the people side of it is the biggest issue right now, and making sure that everyone's okay. But at least, being under a big organization, with the guys with the professional restaurants and things, that, they take care of the people. So, that's one thing that is good about being under a big umbrella. So we're trying to take care of people as much as possible.
One of the questions we had in prior to the session was, what will the end of this lockdown actually look like for operators, particularly as creditors will consider restaurants as being back to normal the day they open. The day they reopen again, however, that won't necessarily coincide with customers coming back, etc. How much is that going to be an issue once this lockdown is finally over? Naim?
Many points you raise in a very simple question. How many? The first one is, how many will actually reopen? Is the first question I'd like to ask. I know for a fact that we're looking at about 30 to 40% of the businesses that will not be able to reignite the business based on cash flow issues and furthermore. The second part of the question is, for me, is to make sure that when the new world order emerges and supremes, and I use this sentence quite often now, we all need to be ready to look at life in a different limelight, in a different approach. There will be cash crunches. There will be a lot of people scrambling to make ends meet. There will be people trying to get the visas organized. There will be departures. There will be arrivals. It's like a reset to our daily chores. We need to be ready for that. And I think, I truly hope that everyone's utilizing the time effectively to nurture teams, develop teams, look after teams in any possible way that's possible. And hoarding the cash flow that you have in order to look after the teams before you do anything else. It's not about rent at the moment. It's not about taxes at the moment. It's about making sure that we look after number one priority obligation, our people.
Yeah, exactly. And I think from the hotel's perspective, we are looking at the number of restaurants as well, not just for now, but permanently going forward. Do we need so many restaurants within the hotels? So that's one thing that we are looking at, you know, with our individual owners in the properties. But it definitely will be a slow ramp up in reopening.
Yeah, and I talked about the new normal as we all know it in a few weeks and months. You know, it's crystal ball time at the moment, isn't it? But we really are going to have to seriously look at our businesses and how do we invest, the size, the shape, the number, the everything. It's going to be an interesting time ahead for everybody.
Absolutely. And we wonder, in terms of when this new normal eventually, or when this current new normal is over and we go back to the old norm, but it's going to be obviously considerably different than it was. I'm looking at a question from Nicky Wilson, who asks, you know, do you think now that because of the cost cutting is key and the different ways that we'll be driving this forward in terms of staff, saving money through staff, etc., when the restaurants do reopen, how different will the industry be as a whole? Well, because something like this could happen again and cause us to go into another lockdown, how much will people have to change how you plan a restaurant going forward? You're on mute, Duncan.
There we go. My mistake. Yeah, sorry. On that, I'd just like to say that I think we are in the hospitality industry, and that is a people business. So if anyone's thinking that everyone's going to be replaced by robots as a result of this, no, that will not happen, I believe, because there is an engagement process that is key to delivering the experience when our new normal sets in. Will it be different? Yes. Will orders be taken differently? Perhaps. There may be a more digital form of ordering that comes into play. But that personal engagement, that one-on-one contact, that face-to-face knowing that when I'm asking you about the steak on your menu and you're telling me how wonderful it is, that I think is something that everyone right now is seriously missing out on, that engagement piece. And that is something that no form of delivery or takeaway can ever replicate. And so it is my belief that there will be, you know, that people contact and individuals and staff on the floor engaging with consumers and restaurants that have that hospitality piece to it. That is the business that we are in. Yes, it will go through it'll morph in different ways, but it will, I promise it will never go away. That's for sure.
Do you think, Duncan, that people will care more? Do you think customers will care more, employees care more? Do you think there'll be more empathy in the restaurants and more tolerance?
100%. I think this is the shock. It's a shock to the system when you think about, you know, how many people out there used to dine out in this region alone 2 to 3 times a week, and now they're unable to do that. I think the absolute appreciation when people do eventually go out and are able to go and sit in a restaurant and hear the music and smell the food being prepared and listen to the waiters explaining what it is that they're doing, there's going to be a huge amount of empathy and appreciation, not only for what they're getting right now, but for what they've gone through to get to that point.
I think, and our whole messaging leading up to this is going to change our marketing, our online communication. Everything is going to change, isn't it?
It is indeed.
Going back to your question, Simon, I think one of the things that is going to happen, there's going to be a lot of trial and testing in the next 3 to 6 months once all these things start moving on. For everyone here who have not just one, but they have a portfolio of outlets, there is going to be a phased manner in which what we feel is the best outlets that should open up first and which should open up last. For example, banqueting, outdoor catering, all these things are going to be the last things that are going to come operational. The first things are going to be smaller restaurants, the most popular restaurants, especially with the local market. These are the ones, and that too we have to look at what the government or the authorities' direction is. Whether we go back to the start, as in we only open with 20% of the seating capacity, or we open with 50% of the seating capacity. This is also going to dictate which outlets we open first and which we open later. I think all these dynamics will play key in the first 3 to 6 months once all these things come to the new norm, as we say.
Looking, Duncan, Naim, I think everyone mentioned that the most important part of what we do is then the people, which is obviously what we care about the most. So just finally, as we're about to end, what measures are different operators taking to make sure, this is a question from Dinesh Chowan, what measures are different operators taking to make sure that employees' food and shelter is taken care of during these tough times?
Well, just from our perspective, I mean, once again, it is the most important thing is this is one element, but this is also a humanitarian crisis, and it is our responsibility to ensure, through no fault of their own, for our employees that they are unable to travel back to their home countries, which a lot of them would probably wish they could. So we are making sure, and we are absolutely making sure that they have a roof over their head, that they are being fed 3 meals a day, nutritious meals. We're working at ways of doing that ourselves, along with partnering with third-party providers as well, also to keep more of our people engaged in cooking and preparing, and really running it as a little mini business within itself is the way to support and keep your teams looked after and the essentials taken care of. So that's one of the key things from our point.
Very much.
Simon, can I just jump in with something quickly? There's a lot of questions that are coming in from people and concern regarding the government involvement and DTCM regarding this initiative and what's going on in the market. So just to give everyone reassurance, yes, there have been conversations with them, both over the last few years and more specifically the last few weeks. They are supportive, they like this initiative, and there are ongoing discussions to see how we can work closer together so they can support us and we can support them. So this is, conversations are ongoing and things are looking positive in terms of the reaction and the participation from both parties. So there's just many questions coming in about that.
Thank you, Ramzy. Yes, I mean, unfortunately, our time is up, and incredible, fantastic response from everyone. Really appreciate you all tuning in. An incredible amount of questions. I think we only got through about 25% of them. But as we said, we'll be doing this weekly, and there'll be a lot more panels and sessions coming from the team at MERA. Let me pass you over to Jennifer Pettinger-Haines, who will tell you more about what's to come. And yes, thank you as well to all the panelists for that great Q&A.
Thanks so much, Simon. I really appreciate it. You did a great job. There's so many questions coming through. We've had over 50. So we will be trying to respond to those and then circulating the responses where we haven't. I've been trying to answer to people as we go along, but obviously can't get to all of it. We will also be running dedicated webinars next week on legal issues, one on communications, and we're going to do one on delivery. So because of the need at the moment, we may do them more frequently once a week, but currently they're scheduled for 10 a.m. Every Wednesday. Please contact me at jennifer@themira.org with any specific issues or questions you'd like raised. Outside of the webinars, we'll also try and connect you or answer questions or queries where we can. The whole idea is to support everybody, not just now for this challenging time, but in the future. We'll also be putting together a resource center with some of the directives that have come out and any information that we can that we think will help. So thank you so much, guys. Oh, finally, we are looking for financial support. So to get this off the ground, we really need financial support so we can have dedicated resources to moving it forward. So any sponsors, potential sponsors out there who'd like to work with us, please drop me an email. We'd love to talk to you. Thanks so much, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Stay safe.
Thank you.